This presentation will discuss the increase in the frequency of forest wildfires in the western United States. This presentation is by Kylie Abner, Shantane Aguilar, Alyssa Ginolo, Caitlin Golf, Georgia McFarland, and Tamara Workman, along with a resource from the article Warming in Earlier Spring Increased Western United States Forest Wildfire Activity, which is listed below.
The issue that we will be focusing on today is the increase in the frequency of wildfires around the United States. Studies have shown that wildfires have much increased since the 1980s that have been influenced by land use changes such as fire suppression efforts, grazing, and logging, which have altered forest structures and fuel availability. This raises concerns among scientists, policymakers, and the public. Wildfires have been more frequent, longer, and more destructive than ever before, causing hundreds of homes to be burned every year and billions of dollars spent trying to clean up after them. Climate change is a significant reason for an increase in wildfires, particularly through rising temperatures, earlier snowmelt, and prolonged dry seasons. With longer fire durations and extended fire seasons, particularly in mid-elevation forests of the northern Rockies, the shift aligns with the observed regional warming patterns, highlighting the complex interplay between climate and fire regimes. Understanding these relationships is critical for developing effective wildlife management strategies.
So the first theory to explain an increase in wildfires is the land use theory, which is basically the man-made explanation, which focuses on human impact, and it's basically saying that the regrowth that's happening in the forests isn't equaling the damage that's being done via like the livestock grazing or humans' tendency to logs, and that is creating a larger surface area for fires to accumulate. And then the second one is climate change, where the increased temperatures cause longer wildfire seasons and also droughts and increased heat, which is also affecting these specific areas. And climate change is the more broader explanation, and it can be used in a wide variety of ranges across multiple areas, whereas land use is relevant to independent specific factors.
What methods did the authors use in the study to address their questions? They talked with fire management media and scientists, as well as studying and analyzing data and infographics as seen on the slide below. That pertains to the western U.S. forest wildfire temperatures. They also studied the difference in snowmelts and its timing in correlation to several factors. What data sets and analysis did they use? They used difference in temperatures over time in different regions, as well as forest vulnerability, analyzing specifically how dry and flammable the forest is due to the area's precipitation and moisture. They also used the timing of forest wildfires and how they correlate to the timing of spring snowmelt.
So the study found that there was an increase in wildfire frequency of 4 times the average of 1970 to 1986, that there was an increase of 78 days in the length of the wildfire seasons, and that the increase in the wildfire seasons is correlated with an earlier snowmelt. As we see here, the earlier snowmelt years had 56% of total wildfires happen during this time and only 11% during late snowmelt years. And we also found that the northern Rockies and northern California are found to be the most vulnerable to wildfires. So here we can see in graph A that we have these high summer spring temperatures, and along with that the wildfires have increased. And here for graph C, we can see that from 1970 to the 2000s, we've had a substantial increase in how long the fire season is lasting. And then here for graph B, we can see that compared to mid and late snowmelt years, that early snowmelt years are always going to have a substantially higher frequency of wildfires.
My final conclusions based on their analysis. Climate change is more of a cause compared to land use history. This is because of the statistical correlations between early forest fire seasons due to early snowmelt and droughts caused by climate change. The regions most affected by wildfire issues are larger areas and areas with mid-level elevation, such as the northern Rockies and the northern Californian forests. While both large and small areas are affected by the warmth, human intervention is less effective towards larger areas, leaving them to have worse fires. What makes this study important is that it shows us what is causing the increase in fires and what steps would be best to prevent them. The study shows climate change is more of a cause than land use history. We can see this by viewing the high correlation between the temperatures of spring and summer and the worsening of fire activity. Regional and global implications of the study's findings. Regional. The study implies that while smaller regional forests can be managed, the effects of climate change on our larger forests is not as preventable. Both regional and global forests will be affected due to climate change being the issue and not land use history. This means the solution to this problem globally would have to be working towards climate change-based solutions.